Beyond the Dirt podcast, episode 7. Today we have the Berryhill family from Lamar, Missouri with me. So we're going to learn about them and what they do behind the scenes and all that stuff today. So let's get started. Corn, you pulled as a kid, and now your kids are pulling. So tell us a little bit about when you started as a kid.
Well, it's kind of a funny story how that started. I was about 2-3 years younger than Mason, and it all started at a Carthage shrine pull. That's why it's kind of a special event for us when we get to pull at Carthage. There was a older gentleman named Randy Berry from Lamar, Missouri. We went to the pull. I was 8 years old. I hadn't quite turned 9 yet, and I'd been saving money from little odd jobs on the farm. And a guy come down the track in a little tractor that said had a for sale sign on it. So I caught up with him after he had pulled and told him that, well, I had enough money in my savings account, I was going to buy his tractor from him. And he asked me just how much I had in my savings account, and I said, I got $250, you can have every bit of it. Well, sad thing was, I didn't let my parents know that I went down and had this conversation, and that was on a Friday night. And Saturday morning, my folks got a phone call that, hey, your son come up and talked to us, said you guys might be interested in buying a little pulling tractor. So unbeknownst to them, I'd done some wheeling and dealing down in the pits, and that guy got enough of a kick out of it that a kid come up and was offering to buy his tractor. To him and my dad worked out a pretty good deal on Saturday morning, and the rest of it from there is history.
It's history. Well, that's pretty cool.
Started off as a little single-cylinder 12-horse, just completely stock, and it grew with me when I grew up in years. And then old Bernie, you've had him on here and talked to Bernie quite a few times, and I was about Mason's age when I got to know Bernie and started pulling around Bernie. And I grew up with that group of guys and went from that little garden tractor up to the motorcycle tractors, and got my wife involved in that when her and I got married on the motorcycle tractors. And
cool.
Addie was just a toddler when we started that, but even before she could talk really good, she'd know whether it was Mama's tractor or my tractor that started up. So it's been in her blood from when she first started walking.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, when you go buy a tractor, you don't even tell your wife. That's kind of how I got started. Look what happened. So, but she's good with it. So, are you kids going to pull any antique tractors this year?
Yeah, I've got a 560 diesel.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's going to be great. That's going to be awesome.
Yep.
So, you okay?
Mine's going to be a little bit more of a process, so it's going to be a surprise.
That's the best part.
Yeah, keep everybody on their toes.
Okay, I got a question. I kind of thought of this because I thought it'd be kind of interesting. I know I grew up in FFA, my wife grew up in FFA, and there's a lot of kids out there pulling today that's involved in FFA, and the projects they have. And of course, back when I was a kid, we had cattle, hogs, and stuff, but they also had like small engines, and I remember taking a small engine all apart, and doing it, and that's kind of how I learned, about small engines and stuff, but I know you recently went to Kentucky to the FFA convention. I think my wife's been there in the younger days too, back in the day, so just tell us about your trip.
It was a really neat experience. Got to make a lot of really cool connections. Talked to a lot of guys out there, just anything from farming companies and seed companies to guys that ran cattle and made chutes, and so it was just great. Got to learn a bunch, got a bunch of business cards and everything, because I plan on pursuing a career in the agricultural industry after I graduate. But the best part was probably the tractor pull. It was awesome. There was a really good turnout, a lot of big guys there, and it was
tractors.
great. Big tractors. Big tractors. Yeah.
Lucas Oil Company.
Yep. It was Lucas.
Cool. What agriculture you think? Is that going to be a surprise?
I want to be a livestock representative. I like
Cool.
that idea. Get to see.
Cool. Awesome. Mason, you had a broken arm
Yeah.
and you fell off the jungle gym, right?
A slide.
A slide. And you had a broken arm during pulling season. And I know that, of course, we talked about this some back in pulling season, but tell our viewers how hard that is on somebody that's dying to get on their tractor, but you got a broken arm. But you made it through it, didn't you?
Yeah. It's sucks to not have two hands, but it was still fun to enjoy it.
You still drive one-handed, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I don't.
The funny story to that is Mama Bear is a little more protective, and we had been discussing with her because we were missing baseball season as well, and so he was pretty down in the dumps, and Mama didn't know quite sure capabilities of running his pulling tractor with the arm and a cast, and of course we thought we'd give it a try, and we was over at West Mineral Pole. We talked to you and Bernie, and Bernie kind of gave the nod and said, "Oh, if he can handle it, we'll let him run." And we convinced Mama that we were going to go maybe half throttle for the first tub and see how this would go. And he opened it up at about 50, 60 feet. And yeah, we thought, no, he'll be all right. He can handle it. And it did miss a pull that year.
So what happened when you fell off the jungle gym? Just playing around, you was chasing girls, wasn't you?
No.
You wasn't
We
chasing
was
girls?
playing a game of tag, and I got bumped in on my back, and I fell off the slide.
That hurt.
Yeah.
I remember doing something like that too when I was a kid. I think I broke my wrist back in.
Yeah. It didn't really hurt. I was just scared to see if it was broke or if it was good. I wasn't pretty scared.
All right, we're talking about that motorcycle tractor. Somebody mentioned that motorcycle tractor. Are you ever going to break out that motorcycle tractor?
Well, I'd love to, but I tell you what, it's been more of a joy for me running up and down the track with these two. And I kind of got to see what my dad did whenever I was their age. When we got started into it, I had my garden tractor, and he hauled me all over the country. My mom hauled me all over the country to go to pulls, and eventually he built into the motorcycle tractors. But it was just enjoyment for him, I think, getting me set up and going down the track. And that itch is always there, but I don't know. I enjoy being pit boss. We'll just put it that way.
Well, you got a motorcycle tractor, don't you now?
We still got 3 of them in the barn.
Okay,
Just-
because I've had a lot of questions out there. You viewers that's watching this, the question you sent in, so you've heard it from the horse's mouth over there. So he might break it out someday. So man, I had a lot of text on that. I mean, a lot of people wanting you to come out with that motorcycle tractor.
that motorcycle.
And I didn't really know what you had, you know. So.
Well, it's an old motorcycle tractor. Runs off 2 transmissions. When I was younger, my dad took it to Sedalia State Fair and took first place with it. And then when I got age enough to drive it, we went to Oklahoma State Fair and I took first place with it down there at the Oklahoma State Fair. Old tractor's been around for a while, but it's just one of those things that funds go to keep these 2 running, and one of these days might get a wild hair and go ahead and break her out.
Well, Dad, you need to get on that motorcycle tractor and come out. We need your dad. You got to talk Grandpa into getting on that motorcycle tractor
That won't be
and
hard.
bringing it out.
All right.
So, all right. I had some other little questions. I don't know if somebody sent this in, and I didn't usually write their name or text number down, but how do you like? What's your opinion? And I like to know this too because people call, in a pull or whatever, and says, does a Friday night work better or Saturday night? Well, I know the answer, but how does a Friday night affect you in pulling?
To be honest with you, evening pulls, they work out better the schedule, I think, of getting crowds there. And you can ask any puller if there's going to be a chance that a crowd's going to be there. They're going to, whatever means necessary, they can come and put on a show. For us, luckily my employment is just as bought into watching these kids and seeing them on little tractor pulls as I am. So as far as scheduling wise to get somewhere, I don't think it'd ever be an issue for us.
Well, and I'm kind of, people's watching this, and you know what we're talking about with the text and messages we get, but we do have some Friday night pulls booked this year, and some of them, some of you guys wanted us to change the Friday night pulls, but we don't make that decision. All we do is provide the sled. They want a Friday night pull, you're just going to have to take off of work. I mean, it's bottom line. I don't know what else to say, but Miller, Missouri this year got moved up. Of course, I had to tell you about it before the end of the podcast, but Miller, Missouri is going to be July the 7th this year. It's going to be a week before Carthage pull. So, and I think we're still doing the Carthage pull according to one of our last guests, his brother's involved in the Shriners, so I'm 99% sure that Carthage is still gonna go on a Friday and Saturday night, but we haven't really actually heard to make the schedule up, so.
I like to hear that. Those are two amazing benefit
I
pools.
love that pool, you know, and I'm just kind of, you know, a couple of years into this, you know. It's kind of awesome, you know, 2 nights in a row, you know, so well, I get a lot of 2 nights in a row, one garden tractor night and one antique night, you know, but I just like to pull there, Carthage, you know. What's your favorite pool you go to?
Carthage.
Carthage.
I have to go with Carthage.
Carthage for me, because when you asked Dad earlier where it all started for him, we went to Carthage Pool. I think it was my end of my 7th or 8th grade year, and we were just kind of sitting there, and Carl and Dad were like, hey, you know, let's go, it's tonight. And we ran into Pete Johnson and Rayson and their whole crew, and they talked me into getting on one of their Berryhill horses and pulling that night. So it started for me there too. So there's just a lot of history there. And
That's a nice place too. It's a real nice place.
And it's for a great event for the kids.
Oh yeah.
Always puts on a good show.
Yeah.
Boy, it's always one of our biggest pulls of the year. Tractors come from everywhere for that one.
I don't know for sure, and some of you watching out there might correct me in a message or something, but I don't think they got toward Spring River on the big side. I think there's somebody new that.
I
is-
think it's going to be southern.
Yeah.
We've got some friends that pull the Spring River and had some technical difficulties last year that they think they're not going to be able to run with the Shriners this year at the Carthage Pool, which I hope they can bring something in because it's a great show, it's a great venue,
And I also heard a rumor on how true this is. I think they're going to switch ends or something or something. I don't know. I don't really want to put that out there, but that's just conversation. That's a rumor I heard. So, but anyway, I'm looking forward to Carthage Pool, and I think what is it, the second or third weekend of July. I don't have the calendar right here, but all right. What's your favorite awards you've won? I've had a lot of questions on people sending stuff like that in.
The hat.
The hat.
The hat.
you gotta be a little more specific on that.
Okay, well, back up here, okay. I got that right here. I got that right here. That was one of my first texts I got when I put it out there, you guys are gonna be on my podcast. It was a 417. It says, ask Addie, what's the deal between Honko and Addie on the hat when they pull against each other? Is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking
Okay.
about. So it was a Liberal tractor pull. It was my first year pulling, and so we originally bought my tractor off of Honko. And him and I just had this big grudge match going, and we've been mouthing each other all night. And it was the year it was so muddy, and my foot slipped off the throttle, and Honko came out and put it to me. And he pulled up and was mouthing me, and I took my hat off and I threw it at him. And he put his hat on and threw it on the ground, and I ran right over his hat.
You ran over his
Ran
hat?
over his hat. And so I told him I wanted my hat back, and he said I can get my hat back the next time I beat him. And so that went back and forth all while we pulled together. Whoever beat each other got to keep the hat, and he still has the hat.
Well, Honko, and this is for you, Honko, because I know you're probably going to watch. It's going to sound like a WWE then when they challenge the next person. Now, Honko was pretty good at coming up with hat rules.
Yeah.
When he'd have a breakdown, he would say, that's against hat rules, I'm not giving the hat up. And the next thing we know, Honko decided to not bring the hat to a few polls or wouldn't even show up with his tractor. And we started getting Honko pretty good about it. And he said, well, if I don't pull, I can't lose that hat. So there was some extra rules I got placed in.
I'd like to see the hat rule book and the hat.
What's your favorite one?
He is a dandy, I'm telling you. I just like that award, you know.
I tell you, they don't make somebody with much bigger heart than Honko.
Oh, yeah, he's got a good heart. You know, when that time we come up with it, I think we was going to Springfield Fair, you know, and the first time we went, you know, well, they asked us, and people's going to say, well, you know, the red shirts that we had, you know, had Midwest staff on the back. We caught a lot of crap about that, you know, because, you know, everybody knew us, you know, we just are local overall guys, you know, and I don't know, we needed something about the fair, or something about, you guys got any kind of t-shirts or anything to identify yourselves, you know, as staff. I mean, that was the deal. I mean, first, you know. So we made these shirts, you know, said staff and put our name on them, you know. That's where the shirt deal came from. And we hated wearing them, you know. But we had them shirts, we wore them, you know. Well, we were somewhere and Honko said, I'm security. You know that, don't you? I was in security. I said, okay, so I made a shirt for him, you know. And he's got that shirt that says security, so that's why I give him a lot of crap out of being security. So, what's your least favorite place to go?
Mine's Cherokee.
Cherokee, hot and dusty,
Yeah, a lot of loose dirt.
a lot of loose dirt.
I'd probably have to go with Cherokee.
I'm gonna have to say anywhere we break down.
Anywhere you break it, so.
Welch
So
is
liberal.
Welch is a long ways to drive to tear something up, but we ain't gonna miss it. We love old Jeremy down there in Welch.
So, cool. Yeah, old Jeremy, he's quite a fella, ain't he?
Yeah.
We've had some changes come up, you know, for the new year and everything, so, we do have some new awards this year. We're not going to do paper, we're not going to do buttons. The pulls that we put on, we set up a production line in the shop, so we've been building plaques,
Oh,
so.
that's awesome.
I mean, they're different, you know.
Yeah.
We made some brands out of some metal. We branded some of them, you know. They might not look like professional design, you know, but it's different, you know.
And that's what it's all about.
You know, we used to got something, and then I come up with another design. I put a benefit horse pole on one time. I didn't want to spend some money, so I just cut some square boards out and routed around them, you know, and made a paper, and then put that, whatever that craft stuff is, glued it on there and varnished over. Boy, they look good, you know. And so we made some of them, you know, we got them different for our awards this year, so that the pulls that we do, you know, you won't get a piece of paper this year. So anyway, that's kind of what we're going to do on that. So are we doing all right on time there? I got a 918 number here that texted me the other day. It says in the video, and I had to go back and some of this don't pertain to you, but you know, people send it in, so, and we're on the podcast and I know they'll watch it, but it says in the video of Mound Valley, Kansas, you are in an orange shirt running down the track. Who is the person on the tractor? And where is the hood? Now I'm fascinated, you know, how I send this out there, you know, for questions for a podcast. And I'm fascinated by the people that watch the videos, even before, you know, our past podcasts, you know, some of the stuff I get, it just amazes me. Like the time, why does Pete wear a helmet? Did you see that video?
Yeah.
You know, people noticed why Pete was wearing a helmet on the sled. But somebody wants to know I guess they recognized me. I was in an orange shirt running down the track. And who's the person on the tractor? Well, that was my daughter pulling my tractor. And where was the hood? I was going so fast, or she was going so fast down the track, the hood blew off, almost took off the sled operator's head. So that's where the hood went. So, but that's what happened there. No, not really. I had to pull the hood off at the last minute and start it, and to get it started, and didn't have time to put the hood back on, but everything was good with that. So, you know. I got a 417 text. It says, ask Mason if his dad works out through the week for he can keep up with you going down the track.
Nope, that's his job.
That's his job. Huh? How fast do you think he's running?
I'd say 8 miles an hour.
8 miles an hour.
Well, yeah, because when he hits that 12, 13 mile an hour mark, if you watch some of those videos, I'm towards the back of the sled, so he's probably right at about the 8 mile an hour. Started the season off with my cowboy boots, and most anybody that knows me always wore slip-on cowboy boots, but during tractor pulling season, I've got some lace-up, flat-sole tactical boots that I need to be wearing more often because rolled ankles and my body's not what it used to be.
Man, I used to roll my ankle on a rock. Oh, it hurt. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. All right, ask Addie if she would pull a motorcycle tractor. I think we pretty well covered that. But somebody actually sent that in.
I pulled Pete's Thunderstruck before, twice I think, and it was fun. It was a thrill. I like it. I'd pull about anything anybody would put me on, if I'm being honest.
So there you go, get the motorcycle track.
We be busy last part of the winter.
Okay, I got another one for Addie. This has come from Stephanie from Facebook Messenger. And Stephanie, she said she was from Iowa. She says, watching the videos, and I hope this is the right tractor in person you are interviewing. What's the symbol on the hood? And we talked about that in the video before. Tell us a story about that.
So, sorry if I get emotional talking about this, but after my first year of tractor pulling, my grandma Nora was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And she, if you know her, you know that she is at every single pull, whether somebody's picking her up or she's driving out herself. And so that was some really hard news to hear. And we actually got some sponsorship opportunities, and a company reached out and was going to offer to paint my tractor free, And so I was like, well, what do I want to do? Sat there and thought of names and everything, and my tractor name is Can Survive. And so it's got the white cancer ribbon on it for lung cancer, and we surprised her with it, and she just had it to pull. No matter how sick she was, what she felt like, she always made sure that she was there. And so
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
that's what it is.
There you go, Stephanie. Hey, we're going to break for a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome you to Happy Jack's Foods, home of Beyond the Dirt Pulling Podcast. Come and see us, try out our good food.
Mention that on my podcast then. All right. Okay. Hey, what's the podcast? Let Hannah Johnson know you're coming after her. Okay. Okay. All right. Bye. Tell Berryhill's hi.
Hi.
All right. Bye.
While you're here at Happy Jack's enjoying the food, come on inside and check out the automotive memorabilia we have, and along with my new oil tanker. Come on by and see us.
Thanks again to Happy Jack's right here in Columbus, Kansas, barbecue place, showroom, motorsports. If you ever get through Columbus Tuesdays through Saturday and you want to have some good barbecue, you can stop there and eat. Got a heck of a breakfast, and I'm going to talk about a little bit later about what's going to happen on here the April 15th. So thanks again to Happy Jack's Motorsports and Food. So, all right, had a little excitement there. I'm going to go ahead and mention it on the podcast here. Had a little excitement. My phone kept ringing. One of our former tractor pullers came over here to buy a tractor today, and I guess he says, Hannah Johnson, you better look out because I'm coming after you. Came over to buy a motorcycle tractor, tried to find us and couldn't find us. So I hope he makes it home safely. So I got another message here. I got another question here. It says, this is a Facebook message from Ivan. It says, enjoyed watching the videos. Your tractors sure pull good. Someone sure taught you how to weight one up.
Yep. It's all about how you balance it.
That's right.
We've sworn by that. We've got everything just balanced out perfect. Tire pressure and weights, they go hand in hand. It's just basic science. They go into correlation, and knowing where to drive too. That's another big thing. Going out there and walking the track.
Taking your pliers and sticking in the dirt. You're driving.
Finding out where the bite is.
And you know, we've talked about that a lot. We talked about it on our earlier podcast with some other guys and stuff, but you know, that is very true, you know. You see a lot of them guys, you know, they put either weights behind the wheel or they put weights right on the front of the tractor. You need that stinger out there, man. You need to balance that tractor out there, you know.
You want those front tires just tapping.
Yes.
Just tapping.
Exactly, you know. And you know, there's you know, a lot of tricks to it, you know. And when I first come out, you know, I just piled some weights on the front of my front end, you know, by the grill, you know.
No.
Well, no wonder you're popping wheelies all the time, you know. You know,
Well,
so
you can do a lot less, or a lot more with a lot less.
Oh, yeah.
Even motor-wise. But one thing we've always done with our tractors, and there's even certain tracks we'll pull on. I'm not going to give out all of the tricks of the trade here because it's fun, but it's still
Yeah.
bragging rights
Oh,
between
yeah.
some of us. But there's even a lot of tracks we pull on. When we run across the scale, we might be 150 to 200 pounds light, but depending on that track and knowing how the tractor bites to that track, there's a lot of tracks we'll pull on that our tractors will be running fairly light,
yeah.
just because I know what the balance is going to be on that tractor per that track.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not all about throwing yourself to right at the pound of being right at the borderline of it. A lot of times it's just what the track entails for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's a lot of truth to that, you know. Okay, Mason, this is for you, I guess. I should have read some of these. I guess wrote them off my phone one evening when I'm busy here. It says, it's from 620 Tex. I discovered your tractor pulling channel on YouTube from a friend. We was at Fredonia. Oh, I don't remember this one now. We was at Fredonia that evening and watched the little guy pull. That was awesome. When the announcer got him on stage, was wondering how long he said he pulled. They want to know how long you pulled. I couldn't understand what he said in your video titled Pulling with Our Neighbors. So how long you pulled?
How long have I pulled?
3 years, 4 years?
About 3 years, 3.5.
3.5. Because I missed out on half the season when my tractor was down, so.
About 3.5 years.
That was kind of cool that night you got up on stage. I remember that.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't know who this person is with 620 Tex, but yeah, we had a good time that night.
That
We
was a
had a good
blast.
time.
And for some of you guys that don't know how that went down, our friend Galen over here could be kind of a bad influence at times. We were pulling in Jasper, Missouri for a day pull. And we'd started that pull rather early that day compared to what we normally pull. And throughout the event, Galen's walking by and lets people know that, hey, we've got a pull tonight over in Fredonia, Kansas. Well, for some of you people that don't really know, might know where Jasper, Missouri is at. It's about 95 miles from Jasper to Fredonia. And needless to say, tractors got loaded up on a trailer and we had a caravan coming over to Fredonia, Kansas. And we made it just before the pull started. But you can check out that Pulling with Our Neighbors video on there. Galen's telling us all about ice cream joints in Fredonia and what kind of trouble we can get into in Fredonia, Kansas.
That was a fun night.
Yeah, it was.
And thanks, Grandpa Carl, for buying supper. So that was a good deal. So it was a lot of fun. And also, we're going to have I talked to them just the other day. They're having that veterans pull in Caney that got canceled last year. And I think it's April the 29th. Well, I think we were going to plan a play day around that time, but I think now we're not, I mean, being them guys are so good and they come our pulls, you know, so I think we're going to wait maybe a week or so before we start our pulls. And we're going to go over to the veterans pull and help support that deal, you know, so and I guess I talked to somebody yesterday, one of the guys yesterday, that got the the yellow sled, you know, for like the heavier stuff, you know. Have you seen the yellow sled yet? You pulled one in? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
sled we used over.
Well, they changed it, Cade, he's changing all the weights around, kind of setting it up like our little red sled, you know.
Yeah.
And for they can empty that box, you know, for they can move the weights around and stuff, and you can actually start it and stuff like that. So that'd be a pretty good deal on I think it's April 29th. So, I got one more question. Basically they was all the same questions, you know, related. So, this don't really have nothing to do with you guys or me. It was sent in and I thought I'd bring it up because I always like to keep it real with my viewers. 417 text, it says, I read on your post on Tractor Pulling with GZ on Facebook page. Can you tell us really what happened to Uncle Bernie? Is he coming back? We love what you and your wife do by making the videos. It must take lots of work and hours of editing. If you need a donation in buying a new Uncle Bernie, we would sure donate. We loved Uncle Bernie. He was a hoot. So,
You never know who's gonna show up at me.
well, that's true. So, just for you viewers out there that want to know, I think Rick Marty, he wanted to have a special benefit pool for Uncle Bernie on that comment. But anyway, for my viewers out there, yes, I did have a mask and dressed up as an old man with a walker. Had a lot of fun with it, you know. Remember the time at Meat Dog?
You had half the crowd running over there.
And you was on the scene right there.
Elmer Osterdyke, I'll let you finish it, Daddy.
It was the Halloween pull at Medoc, and Galen had on his mask, and he was dressed up like an older man than he already is. He went walking across the track and tripped up and fell, and we all knew it was happening. We were just kind of standing around there, and Elmer Osterdyke jumped up out of his lawn chair and went running over there trying to get Galen up off the ground.
For real.
Yeah,
I mean, for real.
for real. Like he thought like if somebody had actually seriously gotten hurt.
Couldn't believe all these jerks were laughing.
Turned around
This
and
old
looked
man
at us and just
fell.
couldn't believe we were all standing there laughing and weren't helping, but really pulled a good one over on him.
I tell you, the Meat Dog Halloween pull. One year, I think I tried to dress up like Galen. I had my cowboy hat on.
Yeah, and I wasn't there.
Red shirt.
Yeah.
Addie's dressed as a zombie a time or two, and I think one time Mason went as Bernie with his plier pouch and everything on, and from a distance you couldn't really tell the two of them apart when it came to the height. I wasn't for sure who was who from whom.
Mason just didn't have chew running from his mouth.
That's a good one. And I missed it. Was Bernie there?
Yeah,
He was there?
He was there.
I was cooking that day, I think.
Yep, you had a catering.
Yeah, we catered. We catered for the Meat Dog Tractor Pull,
Yeah.
and we didn't get there till late, till after the pull was over. Yeah.
But I had a red shirt on, had some shirt stuffed in the front, and a straw cowboy hat on, had one pant leg tucked in my boots. I was running around there with a little fake camera. I was Galen. Galen's up. They wasn't even there to see it.
I took, and I'm trying to lose some weight. I've lost a little bit.
That question earlier about keeping in shape, I'm gonna have to shed a few pounds before season comes along, or I'm gonna need a Segway to run up and down the track.
I got a board.
I think I'm getting back on the microphone this year.
Yeah.
I think there's some things happen, so we're going to have a new crew at the table and everything. So I'm going to enjoy that. You know, I take it when I'm taking on the track flagging. I've had some health issues in the past. You know, my leg swells up. My one leg swells up. And I have a hard time. You know, at night when I go home, like the next morning I get up, I can't really walk. You know, after flagging all day.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going to enjoy the table, and that's as long as the boss lets me sit at the table. You know, so. But anyway, I think that's the plan. But back to Uncle Bernie. I don't know. Leave a comment down below. Send me some comments on Facebook or whatever. If you want Uncle Bernie to come back, he might be his twin. Who knows? So we'll try to get Uncle Bernie back on there. If only if you all want it. You know, Uncle Bernie was in the shop with me one night, and I was doing some work in there, and he fell off the box onto the top of the space heater. And he disappeared like the Wicked Witch of the West on Wizard of Oz. So that's what happened to Uncle Bernie. So, but poor guy, he didn't have a chance. So anyway,
We'll have to have a commemorative in memory of Uncle Bernie event.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so on July the 7th, Miller, Missouri, we're going to have a pool there. It's going to be changed. So write down July the 7th, Miller, Missouri. Shriners will be the next pool after that. It'll be a 2-night deal. August the 12th, I want to talk about that too. August the 12th, Seneca, Missouri. He called us 2 days ago and we mentioned something about the rocks. You know, a lot of people didn't like the rocks, and I want y'all to listen to this. There's supposed to be some clay coming in. They're going to fix that. We're not having an antique pool. We'll just have the actual garden tractor pool. So but the track is gonna be, and that's a good place to pull. I mean,
It is.
you know, we dealt with some rocks, you know, and,
They usually get a crowd too.
you know, they got a big crowd and everything, but, I hope everybody can make that on August 12th.
Well, I'd kind of like to put a challenge out there to some of our pullers within this club. Any one of these pulls we're talking about with Seneca or Miller, Carthage, it's benefit pulls for the communities
Oh,
or
yeah.
organizations. And put a challenge out to circle those on your calendar and do your best to show up to those, especially if there's a crowd. You know, that's how we keep the things like this going. If there wouldn't have been a crowd at Carthage, I may not have got my kids into garden tractor pulling because wouldn't have been there to watch and probably would become an option. So
That's right.
keeping these kids into it's the best way to keep something like this going.
And then that kind of made me think of that too. We went to Seneca, you know, for the handicap swing in the park. That's what the benefit was for. And they did meet that goal, and I think they ended up buying 2.
Awesome.
They made enough money to buy 2, and they recently had them installed because he called me about getting back on TV again and doing that. And I don't think they ever followed up with that, but they did buy 2 swings. So you people that helped donate on that and everything, appreciate it. Got anything else to talk about?
I'm still curious what your favorite award is.
My favorite award is just going out there and having fun.
So it's not a trophy, it's just go out and have fun.
Yeah. Enjoy the people out there and everything.
That's right. That's all it's about, having fun.
Yep.
Well, let's break for our last commercial break, and we'll be back in a minute.
Okay, while you're here in Columbus, Kansas, stop by the Happy Jacks Automotive Museum and Memorabilia, have a sandwich, and look at all the nice stuff we have here to see. Cars, trucks, signs, and just plain old stuff from back in the day. Everything from fuel pumps to advertising memorabilia and pictures of your local heroes. Come on down to Happy Jacks and enjoy.
Okay, welcome back. Thanks again to Happy Jacks here in Columbus, Kansas. If you ever get a chance to come by Happy Jacks, just stop here. We're on 69-7 Highway on the west side or the east side of the road, south of Hatfield Chevrolet here. Mason, you got a question for me?
Yeah. What's your least favorite thing about tractor pulling?
My least favorite thing about tractor pulling? Well, for me, would be I'm involved now with the sled crew and doing both sleds and having to leave home on a nice weekend. That's kind of, I mean, I enjoy going, but I run a business through the week and I work Monday through Friday pretty hard. And I got some cows, I got horses, I got stuff like that to do at home. And I guess that would be my least favorite thing, is having to leave
Yeah.
to go do a tractor pull. But
I think mine would probably have to be rainouts.
rainouts,
Yeah, you prepare all week long.
Oh, yeah.
Get fired up for it. Next thing you know, you see that storm system rolling through and you just keep praying it drops a little to the north or a little to the south.
that made me think of another. One time, everybody was like fired up about that. I remember one time we were supposed to have a pull in the Neo show. You remember that?
Yeah.
We was all loaded up, hooked on and everything else. And the lady called and said, "Oh, we're canceling that pull." And I thought, what? Like an hour before, so I remember that one too. What's your least?
My least favorite part about pulling?
Yeah.
Losing.
Yeah. You know, that's kind of like, you know,
But I'm not I don't want to like sound like a sore loser when I say that, because if you lose, you lose, but it's still not fun.
it's kind of like when I started tractor pulling, I was always, of course, I started out, you know, I was rodeoing, riding bulls in my younger days and stuff, you know. And of course, that's always on your own, you know. It's kind of like wrestling, you know. It's not, I mean, it's not a team sport, you know.
Right.
It's not individual, you know. And then I got out of rodeoing, and my dad had always messed with the draft horses. Of course, I did too, you know, but in competition. And I bought a pair of horses and pulled them. Oh my gosh, I pulled for what, 15 years or so, you know, and I had 2 or 3 different teams over the years, you know, and we'd go out there, and I just tell this on a podcast, I don't care. I mean, because it's done, you know. Pete is going to be after us, but, you know, a few of them start doping them, you know, putting a little, well, like racehorse juice. They can't do that no more. They test a lot, you know, but you know, I mean, I was having fun doing it, but I was getting beat all the time, you know, and man, I'd work my butt off through the week, you know. Well, so anyway, I went to the vet, and this is a funny story, that's what I'm telling you. I went to the vet and I said, hey, I need something to boost my horses up a little bit. I'm tired of getting beat, you know. And he gave me some stuff, it was a steroid, you know, like a steroid stuff, a shot, you know. And I give them horses a shot, and they was just sleepy. They was just sleepy, you know. I couldn't figure it out, you know. So I went back and to the vet after the pull was over, and he said, well, did you give him the whole thing? And I said, yes. He said you wasn't supposed to give him the whole thing, you know. But you know, you gotta know how to do stuff. You know, it's kind of like tractor pulling. You gotta know the, you know, before you start doing it, you know. But anyway, things got better. You know, I never did dope the horse again. You know, I didn't ever do it again. You know, and just it's hard work and just, you know, carry on in life, and life brings what you bring. You know, so I thought of a story. I don't know. I kind of forgot now. I forgot off on that, but. You remember the time I had to do a wedding, and I pulled in late, you know. And
You were in your nice dress clothes.
And I had to do a wedding, and they didn't have an announcer. They wanted me an announcer or something.
Yep.
And I started announcing it. It come my time to pull, and you went up there and announced for me.
Yep. And
He's a heck of an announcer, dude.
I like to, I've always been told if you can't dazzle with brilliance, you baffle with BS. And,
That's right.
Galen's probably the king of that right now, so I'm trying to catch up with Galen. But yeah, we even talked about being the world record holder for the longest burnout in Centralia, Kansas.
Well, no, that was in Neutral, Kansas. I do hold the record for that.
Yeah.
So
No telling what you're ever going to find out about people with these tractor pulls.
that's true. We learn a lot. We make a lot of good friends, you know. So, well, I think we're going to get out of here. You got anything else to ask me?
Not off the top of my mind.
All right. Thanks for watching the podcast, and keep it between the lines, and we'll catch y'all next time.